Hey everyone, I hope you are doing well. Happy New Year. I think it's the first video here on the English side of things. I definitely want to do more when it comes to that in 2022, so stay tuned. I just dropped off my son and my wife at the playground, driving back home, going to the office, and long day today, most days quite long. I think if you've been following the news a little bit, then you probably noticed or heard that the European Union is considering a Bitcoin mining ban. Also, something similar has been stated by the US, that they're gonna have a hearing and they're gonna have a discussion on that subject. So yeah, I wanted to give you a bit of my background info and insights, and I hope that's gonna help you a little bit on judging that situation. I think the very first one, and I see a lot of people on social media laughing about this and joking about this. I actually think this is a very likely possibility, so it wouldn't surprise me all too much if that would actually come into effect. And it would be possible. Yes, it wouldn't deter the average small miner to stop, like it would keep them from mining. But I think a lot of larger companies would really get into trouble. If they would have a mining operation, if they would be fundraising for mining. And don't forget, in the US, where almost 50% of mining power is, there are publicly traded companies that are in Bitcoin mining. So this would be very disruptive. They would have to move locations. I mean, we have seen something like that in China. So I definitely see the possibility for that. Now, I'm gonna tell you if that means whether I'm gonna be selling Bitcoin or if I think that is very bearish for Bitcoin. I'm gonna give you that input a bit later. But one other thing I want to give you is a bit of the background. I think obviously, quite expected, there is a bit of a mob coming up that tries to fight the decentralized world, right? That tries to fight anything that's connected to an open market, and Bitcoin kind of resembles that. So this is very expected. We saw this with the money laundering, and we saw this with so many other topics whenever it comes to fraudulent activities, and this is only for ransom money and so on, right? So I think this is very, very expected. And this entire topic about, well, Bitcoin is just used in China. I mean, this topic kind of is dying down, so people don't really care so much about that anymore. And it just goes more into the entire direction where, well, as expected, where Bitcoin there are new attack vectors being looked for. And I think this entire economic, environmental push that we see in most parts of the world, which make a lot of sense, don't get me wrong here, right? This is a very good direction, is falsely being used for Bitcoin, but that's irrelevant. At the end, it doesn't matter about what the underlying facts are. It's always about the narrative. You know this about our world. Narrative matters. It's not so much about the facts anymore, sadly. And yeah, and look, looking at the fact, Bitcoin mining is more sustainable than most countries' electricity usage are. There was this IMF prediction in 2017 that kind of tried to scare everyone to say, oh, in 2020, Bitcoin mining is going to take more energy than the entire rest of the world. And this is by far not true. I think Bitcoin mining takes less than 1%. So yes, it is a chunk, but it's like by far not a significant or crucial amount. So, I mean, this is quite predictable. And now let's get to some other parts. Obviously, there are a lot of actors in the space that have an incentive for Bitcoin not to succeed. Now, obviously, the obvious ones here are some countries, are the US, are banks. I mean, these are the obvious kind of culprits here. But also, Bitcoin doesn't really have as much of a lobby because Bitcoin is relatively decentralized. Yeah, it does have some important figureheads, right? It has Michael Saylor, it has Blockstream, it has a lot of these kind of important actors. However, it doesn't really have that key lobby. And other coins, they do, right? So I definitely see that other cryptocurrencies actually do have an incentive for Bitcoin, in this case, proof of work, not to be doing so well. And we've actually seen reports where coins have actually lobbied against Bitcoin's consensus algorithm in order to hype their own, right? So not too far-fetched. And so my entire expectation around this is gonna spread into more countries. It's gonna be a very easy attack vector because most people, they don't think stuff through. They just hear, oh, Bitcoin uses about 1% of all the world's energy. Oh my goodness, we need to stop this, right? And you're gonna have all the left wing kind of people jump on this. You're gonna have this entire mob jump on this without thinking stuff through. On top of it, all the crypto people, they seem to be becoming billionaires and millionaires, and so the left wing is gonna jump on that as well. So it's a very, very easy narrative at the moment, right? So just get prepared for that. And I think Bitcoin will see some pressure, not only in Europe, but also I think in the US and quite some other jurisdictions. So obviously the question is, what does this mean? Well, for me, I am not gonna sell a single Satoshi because of that. I don't think that's gonna do anything to Bitcoin itself. Sure, way less mining would make Bitcoin way less secure, but it doesn't really decrease its value. The value would decrease if the security goes so low that the network cannot be kept stable, and that's just not, we're nowhere close to these levels at the moment. I think that's the first one. The second one, I think mining will simply just move and will go to places where countries are welcoming that. And I think there will definitely also be countries that say, look, we have all this excess energy. It would be great to, like, maybe during like the low times be able to use the energy, and then during the peak times kind of get it back, basically. And so that makes a lot of sense. And on top of that, to me, of course, it lifts the value of the proof of stake coins because they are not going to have this issue. So to me, it's not really that I think Bitcoin is going to get hurt from that, but I definitely think there is some additional benefit to the proof of stake coin. So I think Ethereum going the route of proof of stake, as much it gets criticized, I think it's the right move. Obviously, DeFi chain being a proof of stake coin, I think that's gonna help it as well. DeFi chain, the community there had this carbon neutral certificate last year. So these are all things that I think are gonna help that, right? So while I don't really think it's gonna hurt Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin will find its way. I think it will have an additional benefit to the proof of stake coins. And so for those of you that sit there and just laugh this off, I think there is a very good likelihood we're gonna see more of the China kind of Bitcoin mining banning ideas spreading, just because there's an incentive to countries. And we see a left-wing tendency all over the world. This is obviously very normal during these times. Obviously, we also see a right-wing tendency, but in this case, it's mostly the left-wing side that pushes against that. So yeah, these are my thoughts on that. I don't, and I mean, the market didn't react either, so I highly doubt there's gonna be something serious. Let's see how this discussion goes in the US. And yeah, other than that, I don't know where you're watching this. If it's on YouTube, then please click the subscribe button, follow. I promise you there's gonna be more videos in English this year. I'm gonna have quite some good ideas. I definitely want to grow the English side of things. If you're listening to this on the podcast, then please click subscribe. And yeah, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, you know what to do. And hey, if you haven't signed up as a customer to my company, Cake DeFi, why haven't you? Cash flow from cryptocurrency is completely transparent. There's some really cool things coming up. I hope you're not missing out on any of those. So hope I see you there. And with that, hey, stay safe. I hope all the best to you and your family. Happy New Year 2022. And see you next time. Yours truly, Julian. Bye-bye.